Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. So, my friends at yarnspirations.com. Today is the freeform crochet graphic scarf. This is a pattern that I never intended to write, and nor did I intend to share, but I will show you how I did it. And this was meant for 80s night on a party that I went to. So what I did is that I grabbed two balls of Caron Simply Soft, one in neon yellow and one in neon orange. These colors are discontinued. So I had it in stock and I thought, well, it's going to glow in the light. So that was my option. So I made this for myself so that it was kind of fun. And as it goes along, you can see that when you put this around your neck is that the colors kind of jump across the scarf and back down in a graphic kind of way. And it's actually really easy to do something like this. So the reason why there's no written pattern is that I just made a decision every time I did a row, whether I was going to stay in the vertical, whether I was going to advance, or whether I was going to retract. And so when I was just working my way through there, so if you follow one all the way through, do you see how it goes? So I almost got all the way across. So I never want to go all the way across. I just want to stop at least one stitch short. And you can see that it just kind of weaves its way. And I had quite a bit of fun doing this because there really is no wrong answer when you're doing this. And so one side has the fringe that matches this color, and the other side has the neon yellow. So what I did is that I reserved my yarn. So I made all of my fringe first. So for this scarf, there is some fringe work, and the fringe work is a total of 12 inches strands, 12-inch strands. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So there's 11 points that you'll have that. And then each one of these consists of 3 strands each. So each tassel is just 3 strands of 12-inch, and then it's just worked away around. So I'll leave that in your hands. So I made all those first, and then I put them on a piece of paper and a side, and then when I was ready to apply it to a scarf, I did so. And so I did the same with the other color. So this meant that the remaining of the ball, I could make my scarf as long as you want to. Let's talk about the scarf length next. So in scarf lengths, they're roughly about 50 inches all the way to 70, depending on you and how much you want to do. I find if the scarf is way too big, it gets caught in my zipper. Maybe my pants zipper if I'm lucky. But I don't like scarves that are hugely long. Super scarves are just about 100 inches plus. And the Doctor Who scarves are roughly about 18 to 20 feet long. So try to manage that inside your coat, whatever. It's very decorative. I don't know if it's practical, but it's very showman-like, right? So let me demonstrate on how I did this and the decisions. Now let's talk about what we're seeing here in the bleed over. This is normal. Salty's watching me film, kind of barking at me. Oh, that little Salty and baby puppy dog. So you're seeing that it crosses over like this. This is normal, so this is not a mistake. And when you go in the opposite direction, it goes there. So I'm going to show you some techniques in order to make sure that you have nice clean lines. But if you see this happening, that is normal. So on the other side, when you turn it over, you see, you don't see it so much on this side. So it depends on which side that you're working on that you will get that going over. So do you see that? So you can see it again. The other side, it's not so much. So this is a really neat idea, and let's begin. And I will give you the information. So it's a 5mm size H crochet hook. This is just a generic hook from Amazon Canada. And I will be using 2 different balls of Caron Simply Soft. The red and this color blue are my 2 favorite Christmas colors that go together in my brain. So I just love those 2. And if you look at the Chips Ahoy cookie package, they're also the same colors. So maybe it just kind of is too reminiscent of sweets, right? So let's begin, and I will demonstrate this next. So let's begin, and we're going to chain 24. So if you want it wider, it doesn't matter on the chain count that you want for you, but 24 was a good one for me. So we're going to do 24. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 24. Once you have your 24 or any kind of count that you would like to do, we're going to start, and we're going to be starting to do the graphic work next. So I want to show you off camera. The one ball is up here, so I'm standing here. Obviously the one ball's here and the other ball's here. The reason why I don't put the 2 balls side by side when I go to work with them is that they can tangle really easily. So if one ball is almost at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock position and the other ball is at our 9 o'clock position here, you will notice that when the yarns come into the project, they're coming from 2 different angles like this, and they're very easy to keep separated. So consider that, and that's something that you can decide on your own. So back to the original project. So when we go to cross here, we're going to make sure that the last stitch is going to be the new color that we have. So because we've applied the fringe here, you kind of don't see that that's happened. And so it's a sneaky way of adding a secondary color in without having to have the first chain being separated with the colors. If you've ever had projects like that, you know how much that is a nightmare. So I like my first chain to be a solid color, and then we're going to start. So have your secondary ready to go, and we're going to work our way across. So get the secondary color ready and put a slip knot on it. And so when you get across at the top, you can put it on. So grabbing this one here, we want to go second chain from the hook. So turn it around and get the back hump of the chain and start single crocheting across. And all I want to do is continue to single crochet on the back hump of the chain until I get to the end. And I want to make sure that the very last stitch is going to be crocheted with the new color that I have offset. Okay, so let's get to the second last chain and I'll meet you there in a moment. So I'm getting close to the second last chain. You can see that I have 3 left. So what I want to show you here is that when you have a loop that starts another stitch, the loop is the top of the roof of the house. So if a stitch is a house, the loop that you start with is the roof of the flat house. So when we go to start this stitch, pull through, see how this loop becomes the top of that stitch. So when you're doing this graphic work or any kind of Graphghan work, you have to make sure that the top of the house matches the whole house. So the coloring has to match. So I got 2 stitches left, so we're going to go into the next one. And I'm going to pull through. So if I know that I pull a loop through and that loop is the top of the next house, I have to make sure that that loop is the same color as the stitch that's going to go in. And this is where we're going to stick on the loop of this new color, and we're going to use that color to pull forward. And this will become the roof of the next stitch, which is the final stitch. I want you, before you go anywhere, the yarn that you just dropped, you're going to leave it in play, and you're going to leave it in front of your project before you continue. If you leave it behind, it's going to be in the wrong position, and then you'll have to frog it out, which means to rip it. So now you're going to do the last stitch just with the red. Okay, and we'll deal with the tail ends later. So you finish the last chain with the red, and therefore you can see that the roof of the house and the house itself are the same color, and you're going to turn your work, and then you're going to begin the next row. So let's turn and start the next row. So this is freeform crochet, so you can go as many over as you want. So I always made sure that if I was going to advance anything, it was either 1 less, or it's 1 more, or it's just straight on up. So I'm going to advance 1 more. So I'm going to pick up, and I want to chain 1 to start another row, and I'm going to single crochet the first one, which will be the red, and I want to drag the red over 1 more stitch. Before I do that, to keep it nice clean lines, the yarn strand leading to the ball here, this is the other color that we're playing with, I want you to stick it so that when you go into the next stitch with the red, you want to put it over top of your row, and this is dragging it so it's in the proper position. So you're going to pull through, and what do we know about the house? The top has to match. So if I'm only going to advance 1 stitch, I'm going to bring this to the front, and I'm going to pick up the blue and finish that with the blue. And I always have to make sure when I drop a color that the strand always stays in front. So now that I have the blue into the stitch, I want to turn it around and make sure that the strand is actually tight, and see that it's not. So what I want to do is just pull on it and tighten it up so that it's tight in behind, and then you can pull down. So if you don't tighten it up right now, you will not be able to tighten it up later. And you're going to leave the red in front and continue to crochet with the blue. And you're just going to go all the way across and then all the way back. And then when you get close to the red, you have to decide if you're going to make it get bigger or whether you're going to retract it. So that's up to you on what you would like to do. So if I were you and you were me, those long tail strands that you see dangling here, those at the beginning, I would think about getting a tapestry needle out and hiding those in and just getting rid of them so that they're never an issue, so you don't grab the wrong strands. It's up to you. And when you get all the way to the other side here, there's nothing else to do other than to turn, chain 1, and single crochet back. So this is really just a decision stitch work that you decide when you get close to the changing of the colors. So you're going to turn. Now, if you keep turning around in the same direction, what happens is that these will eventually get tangled. So you want to make sure that at the end of the turn, you want to make sure that everything stays nice and untangled. So chain 1 and single crochet, and I'll meet you close to where that color is changing back, and we'll talk about that decision then. So I'm getting closer to the red, and what I have to do is that I'm going to decide that I'm going to make the red even wider. So I'm going to make it 3 stitches instead of 2. So I have to plan for that in advance when I go to do that. So we know that the top of the house has to be the same color, so we can go into the next stitch, pull through, but then we have to pick up the red that is going to finish that. We're going to leave the blue in front and pick up the red that is leading to the yarn ball and pull through. Now here's the problem. If you just crochet right now, you're going to have this god-awful strand that is going to be hiding, like going to be in plain sight. So what you want to do is when you crochet the next one, get the blue out of your way and in the front. And when you crochet into the next stitch, I want you to crochet so that you're catching that stitch plus also that dragging of that line that you just dragged up, and make sure that it's all one, and then crochet right up over everything. And now you can continue to use that color all the way to the other side. Okay, so when you turn it around, the blue is on the front right now, but once you turn, it'll be on the back, which is where you need it. And then we just chain up 1 and single crochet yourself until you have to make a decision. Okay, so I want to go 1 more extra. So I'm going to single crochet this one plus the next, but I have to make sure that the house stays the right color. So the next stitch I want to make red. So before I do that, I want to go in and I want to drag up the blue so it's on top of the stitch, and I'm going to pull through, and then I'm going to let the red come in the front, and then the blue I'm going to pick up. I'm just going to tighten it a little bit so that there's no dragging lines in behind, and then continue with the blue. So you just got to make sure that the strand is always in the front when you go to leave it behind. If it's ever in the back, it's in the wrong position, so that you will have to undo it. So then go all the way across and then back, and then we'll talk one more time. So I'm back, so I have to make a decision. Do I want to advance this way, or do I want to go straight on up? If you want to go straight on up, you can just simply just crochet, and then you want to just match the stitch. So you're going to pull this forward, and then just grab your red, and then just continue with your red. And so that keeps the stitches straight up in a vertical if you wanted to do something like that. Okay, so when you turn it around, make sure that you turn it so it doesn't get tangled. And then you can see that went straight on up, and then you can just start another row. And so you can just decide if you want to go up or back or forth, and you just make it really generic. This is why I can't really write a pattern for what I did, because I made the decisions as I went. So if I want to advance again, another one, I want to make sure that I'm continuing along. Make sure I drag the blue with me, put it in front on there. So get stuck underneath the stitch, leave the red in front, grab the blue, make sure it's tightened up, and then continue along. And so then that just advanced a stitch, and just quickly turn it around, make sure that when you dragged it, there's no lines, and that's how you would do something like this. So when you're ready and good and ready for the length, you can decide that on your own. You can apply the fringe. We have tutorials available on fringing if you would like to, and we also have tutorials on how to fasten off if you want to do that as well. So I would fasten these off then with your tapestry needles at the end, and therefore you can end up with a really cool idea of just having the idea of just making it kind of random in your own way, using your own yarns. Can you use more than 2 yarns? Absolutely. You can do 3 or 4, and then you can have those shifting back and forth. I just thought 2 was just fine for me. So have a good one, and we hope to see you again soon.
Want to know more? Hit that subscribe now.